G'day, Rob Burns here for Bob Each Way. Hopefully, everyone is having a great day and you're all okay and in fine form. And I've been out on looking around on Google, as everyone does occasionally, and looking at sort of a term I heard, social and affordable housing. And I found a press release by the Housing Minister in Queensland from the 7th of April this year, 2025. And they set between November last year and I assume February 2026, they're going to do 5,000 homes across Queensland. They built 5,000 social and affordable houses. I don't know what the social side of it is. You got me on that one. Someone will have to let me know what that means. But the affordable housing, I can fully understand that. And the figures are looking at, I thought were quite interesting because there's a big debate at the moment about the numbers of people in the country. Now, this is for social and affordable housing, not other housing, which is probably, what do we call that, unaffordable, I suppose, where people can't afford to live in them. They're a bit too expensive, so to speak. So I don't know how much affordable housing is worth. I couldn't tell you. But the numbers that I've got in front of me, this is I've taken off Google, off the press release from the minister from April. Brisbane, they were going to build in that period 689 homes. Ipswich 223, Logan 315, up in Toowoomba 341, and the Southern Downs 57. So I'm not too sure where that area is. Western Downs at 22 houses, Cherbourg 12, Moreton Bay, and Moreton Bay, I'd assume that's Deception Bay, Redcliffe, that area over there, 690 homes to be built over in that area there. But is it enough to alleviate what's going on with the housing issue at the moment across Queensland and across the country? Gone past driving around the streets and that, and you see people living in previously, I thought were affluent suburbs going into Brisbane through the back way heading towards South Brisbane. There was, they were previously, I thought, affluent suburbs, but actually I saw people sleeping in tents in the park, not far from, I think, the Corinda, around that area there. And I thought, geez, you'd never see people like from years ago sleeping in parks in that area of Brisbane. So that's an issue that they need to address. And I hark back to when we were all younger, back in the good old days, as they call it. Our houses were actually built by the Queensland Housing Commission, the old housing authority. They had teams of people building homes, and they do the repairs and maintenance on the houses as well. But that actually got abolished, and they started the current Housing Commission in 2004. And I don't think they actually picked up or kept the work on houses done there. Someone out there could correct me about that if they did. And I think they contracted the work out to housing contractors, building contractors and that. Because once upon a time you used to be able to go through school and come out and finish, the old tech classes and that, and possibly get a job working a trade with the Housing Commission and that, and as painters and builders and so forth. And they were building and repairing homes right across Queensland, but that seems to have dropped off. I see it now, some emails that I get from various sources, and they say that, it says tenders are out to, people can apply for tenders for the old works on schools and other places and that as well. This is from the state government tenders. And I think that's interesting that we don't have, the state government don't have that workforce that they used to have. And I can imagine it come down to the bean counters out there. Nothing against bean counters. The beans have to be counted by someone, I suppose. But they've made it so that Government has stepped away. There's a few jobs, and it's impacted on places in the country and so forth. Uh, they stepped away from councils. I can remember working on the council in Charleville, the mighty Mirwah Shire. We used to do the road repairs for and do the work on the roads. But now that work's is all contracted out as well. So that's the point I'm trying to make about housing, is the government have stepped away from where they were involved in that type of work, housing, construction, railway, road maintenance. So the basic infrastructure of our society, they stepped away from it and they put it out to contractors and that. And so it's, it's made, I believe, made the contractors probably a pretty good bucket load of money. Well, good on them, they're getting it. But I've seen it like with the roadworks mentioned. I can talk about it quite well because I did work on the roads for a few years, repairing roads and so forth, and the old bitumen gangs. And they used to be done by local councils, and next minute the road work that was done by local councils has been, didn't take a minute, it took a long time, but hand over to these contractors that come in. They come in and do roads, and if anyone's driven on the roads in the west, you'll see a lot of those different companies that are out there, and you'll know the name of them when you see them going past. They're contracted to do the work. They're brought in. They don't actually, a lot of them don't actually live in the town. They're almost like FIFO workers in that sense. They're brought in, do their work, and leave. The difference was when you did it, worked on the local council, you sort of lived there. You had a bit of a pride in the work you were doing for your local community. You sort of thought, well, okay, I'm going to do work here and look after my community. So I'm trying to make that point about the housing and that as well. A lot of the houses that were built by the whole Housing Commission there are solid as, and there's still a lot of them around. They were built straight after the Second World War, and there's still a lot of them around there, right across Brisbane, right across Queensland. So, has it been a good thing that because of the bean counters, nothing against bean counters, like I said, that we've stepped away, government has stepped away from those infrastructure things? And has that been a contributing factor in the housing crisis we're in now? I don't know. This is a question I'm asking out there. Someone smarter than me might know the answer to that. And if they do know the answer, drop me a line when I post this up and let me know your thoughts on it, because it's something that, it's a bit perplexing that we had this period of these houses being built by the government, the whole public works, if you want to call them, department. They had these contracted things. They were government workers, like the railway, the councils and that, and they've slowly withdrawn now. They don't have the workforce they did have, and you look at the impact on it in communities and towns that I lived in southwest Queensland. You look at the impact of those jobs being taken away from the communities, and it was quite significant. And that's something, I don't know if the government are able to rebuild it. I don't think the contractors coming in, doing the work, then going back to wherever they live. They could live in Bali for all I know. But, wherever they live in the world, it doesn't really boost that local infrastructure in the community, because you're losing something there. And that's something that's been perplexing me about this whole situation. So that's my thoughts on it. If you agree or disagree, let me know. That's Rob Burns here for Bob Each Way, and I'll talk to you later.